Vienna in the 1700s was a city of sound and ceremony, a place where hooves beat on cobblestones, where church bells stitched the hours together, and where the air could smell like roasted chestnuts one moment and the damp breath of the Danube the next. By the middle of the century, Vienna was one of Europe's great capitals, seat of the Habsburg court, a crossroads of merchants, soldiers, students, and pilgrims, and a stage where power was performed in stone, silk, and music. In this video, I use modern AI tools to bring historic paintings, engravings, and prints to life, allowing us to shift perspective, change camera angles, and move through the same scenes in ways their original artists never could. We can lean into the foreground, drift over rooftops, and step into crowds that were once frozen in ink. First, I want to talk about the heart of the city where Vienna's pride, fear, faith, and ambition all meet. This view shows St. Stephen's Cathedral and the tight streets around it. By the early 1700s, St. Stephen's Cathedral, Stephansdom, still dominates the skyline like a dark ship's hull rising above the city. This view shows its steep roof, patterned like scales, and its tall southern tower cutting into the pale sky. In the foreground, the square is uneven and busy. The stones are worn smooth by centuries of feet. Look closer, and the mid-ground fills with ordinary motion. Market sellers set out baskets of apples, onions, and bread. A butcher's stall leaves a metallic smell in the air. You can imagine the sound, low bargaining voices, a cartwheel clacking, a dog barking, and then, above it all, the steady ringing of bells. But there is friction here, too. Crowds mean pickpockets. Crowds mean arguments. And in a city still shaped by memory of war, crowds also mean panic can spread fast. Records suggest that fires, sudden storms, or rumors of disease could turn a calm square into a running, shouting crush in minutes. And yet this place matters because it is Vienna's public face. Weddings, funerals, imperial ceremonies, life is measured against this stone. Then, over the century, the city's streets begin to change. Regulations tighten. Lighting improves. The square becomes more controlled, less medieval in feel. Today, remarkably, this is a site you can still visit. The cathedral remains the city's compass, and when you stand here, you can still sense the old pressure of the crowd. This view shows the Hofburg, the court at the center of power. By the 1700s, the Hofburg Palace is not one building, but a growing organism, courtyards, gates, wings, and passages stitched together by decades of expansion. This view shows a broad entrance where guards hold their posts, their uniforms crisp against pale walls. In the background, windows repeat in long rows, like eyes watching the street. In the foreground, carriages roll in and out, horses steam in the cold. Courtiers step carefully, their shoes avoiding puddles and horse mess. You can almost smell waxed leather, perfume, and wet wool. But power creates its own danger. Where money gathers, resentment gathers. Servants hear everything, soldiers watch everyone, and the court is always tense because politics here can change a life overnight. After the War of the Spanish Succession ends in 1714, Vienna's rulers are still balancing alliances, borders, and rival ambitions. This place matters because it is where the Habsburg story is managed, where Maria Theresa takes power in 1740, and where, by 1765, her son Joseph II becomes Holy Roman Emperor, bringing a sharper, reforming mood to the court. Then, later, the Hofburg continues to expand, reshaped again and again for new tastes and new needs. Today, parts of this complex still define Vienna's center. You can walk its courtyards and feel how close the city once lived to its rulers. This view shows the Spanish riding school, where discipline becomes spectacle. By the mid-1700s, the Spanish riding school is already famous, a place where training looks like art. This view shows an elegant facade and the controlled calm of an institution built for precision. Inside, we can imagine high windows, pale sand, and the echo of hooves like drumbeats in a hall. In the mid-ground, riders move with stiff posture and quiet authority. The horses are bright and muscular, their coats gleaming under indoor light. The air smells of hay, sweat, and clean straw. Outside, curious onlookers wait, hoping for a glimpse of courtly perfection. But even here, there is friction. Horses can panic, a rider can fall, and behind the polished surface is hard labor, grooms up before dawn, stable hands hauling feed, and strict hierarchies enforced by rank. This place matters because it turns military skill into imperial theater. It is a reminder that the empire is disciplined, controlled, and refined even if the streets outside are not. Then, as Vienna modernizes, the school becomes less about war readiness and more about heritage, a living emblem of the old court. Today, this tradition survives. You can still visit and watch movements that link directly back to the world of engravings and court ceremony. This view shows the Graben, Vienna's fashionable artery. By the 1700s, the Graben is one of Vienna's most important streets, a place to shop, to gossip, and to be seen. This view shows tall townhouses with decorated facades, shop signs hanging over the street, and people flowing like a steady river between storefronts. In the foreground, a woman adjusts her shawl against the breeze. A man tips his hat. A delivery cart bumps along, and the smell of fresh bread mixes with smoke from nearby hearths. In the background, church spires puncture the skyline, reminding everyone that faith is never far away. But fashion streets carry tension. Class differences are sharp here. A servant in plain cloth brushes past a powdered noble. A poor child lingers too long near a basket of fruit. Policing is uneven, more interested in order than fairness. This street matters because it is where Vienna's wealth becomes visible. It is also where public memory is carved into stone. In 1679, Vienna suffers a devastating plague, and the Pestsalk plague column rises later as a dramatic monument of gratitude and fear. By the 1700s, it stands as a reminder that beauty and death share the same street. Then, over time, the Graben becomes cleaner, wider, and more regulated, turning into the grand promenade visitors recognize. Today, the same stretch survives as one of Vienna's central walks, still full of footsteps, still full of display. Today, you can trace their line in the ring road's curve, feeling how a city once clenched in fear learned to open itself. Vienna remains one of the rare cities where the past is not just preserved, it is lived beside. You can still walk many of these routes. You can still find the same angles the artists once chose. And with modern tools, we can step through those frames and feel how close it all is. If there's another city/moment/scene you'd like me to reconstruct like this, let me know in the comments. Again, thank you so much.